searching out equilibrium right now, and that is in large part due to what we've been talking about here in terms of how the internet has been a disruptive force. As much as it has been disruptive to journalism, it has also been disruptive to governments, and the fact that documents and access to politicians is more transparent than it has ever been. So we've all got to figure out how we're going to deal with this and sort of what this means for democracy. The three areas that I want to talk about in terms of journalism and democracy and where things are going forward are aggregation, curation, and collaboration. And if I was doing some sort of PowerPoint presentation, that would be sort of a alliterative type of thing. But aggregation, curation, and collaboration, and I'll get into that in a second. I want to give an example to start off with. When we talk about how journalism has been disrupted, when we traditionally think of how stories are reported, let's say that there is a fire, let's say that there's a robbery, let's say that there's a press conference at City Hall, that gets reported today, it shows up in your newspaper tomorrow morning. Now that's just not the case. It will show up in your newspaper tomorrow morning, but it might not be the front page story. What we see now is real-time reporting taking place through different tools and through different channels. So, to give a good example, and I use this example a lot, Rex, and I hope you'll appreciate this, is when the mill was on fire a couple of years ago. Big story around all the state. Mill's on fire, it's an incredibly huge fire, and for a time being, a lot of the reporting, a lot of the information that was coming out of it was coming from people that were just standing around. What did these people have? What tools did they have? What experience as journalists did they have? They didn't have much experience, but they had a cell phone camera. They might have had a blog, and they might be on Twitter or Facebook. So what happened out of that experience was that we got sort of this picture painted for us of what was happening at the scene as the mill was burning down, as the first responders showed up, if certain other areas of downtown were going to be in danger, and a lot of that was coming before the rest of the establishment of traditional journalists were able to get onto the scene. And so what's the role of journalists when something like that happens? Is it to just go ahead and do what we've always done, which is to say, go and report the news and then print it the next day? You guys already know what happened. So what I thought was interesting in this case, and this touches on the first one, aggregation, is that the Sun Journal was rounding up a lot of what people were taking pictures of, the tweets that people were putting out. And what this formed, again, was that broader picture that looked at sort of what was happening in real time, and journalists working with the community in a way that we've never really had before. And again, that's because of these new tools and because of this some would say disruptive technology, some might say transformative technology, that's really changed the way that we do our business. And what I was saying before in terms of sort of the transparency in government and transparency in journalism, what's been difficult, in my opinion, for journalists to deal with is the fact that people know a little bit more about how we work, how we do our jobs. And so it's not as simple to just go report a story, a city council story as it was before, because there might be somebody in the audience who was there and who was tweeting the whole meeting. There might be somebody who is a fan of a candidate who will start sort of disputing what a journalist says in the comment section of a story.